Hello, freak bitches. So that's a massive sacrifice you're willing to take to do that, and the fact that it exists inside your body for an undetermined state of time, that's pretty wild, man. It's scary.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I was in a much scarier place personally before I found this, before I found them, before I got given a second family or accepted into a second family. And
more scarier because you were depressed, because you just...
Yeah, well, depressed, suicidal thoughts I had for like 10 years, just battled it from 13 years old, 23. And so yeah, that was a lot scarier to me than going to college.
You had suicidal thoughts when you were 13.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I was one that, like, you know, the kid in the class that, I mean, I wasn't like, I wouldn't say I was, how do I say it? It was extremely brutal, but it was happening to, I mean, everyone gets bullied for the most part.
Somebody's bullying you?
Yeah. When I was growing up, that from third grade till 8th grade for sure, it was brutal. 7th and 8th grade was the worst.
Were you smaller then?
I was smaller.
You're a gigantic dude.
I was smaller.
It takes a lot of balls to bully you.
Yeah. And
that might backfire.
It's actually kind of why I found fighting. Or not why. It is. Or not kind of it is. Because I was 13 years old and I had just gotten... two things. Have you ever seen in Texas for high school homecomings, they have mums? Have you heard of that?
No. What's a mum?
Texas tradition that's crazy. Now all the kids love them, everything else, but you get these like corsages or fake flowers that they put real big up top, and then they are streamers with literal bells and whistles, full-size teddy bears. You can have 2-3 teddy bears. And when I was in high school, the girl would wear it on her shoulder and the guy would wear it around his arm. Now in Texas, they literally have to put a harness around them and hold these things up because they're so big. And there you go. Mums.
What
Texas
in the
mum.
fuck
Isn't that nuts?
That?
Isn't that
what
nuts?
Is that?
That's homecoming in Texas.
What?
Look at that. I'm telling you, it's nuts.
The whole state?
The whole state. I mean,
Have I never heard of this?
Every homecoming that comes around, Texans are nuts about this. I mean, I lived in Texas since I was like 4 months old, so it was, they're nuts. And they've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger every single year. And
how am I just hearing about this?
They're real proud of it. It's weird. I mean,
Are you just hearing about this, Jamie?
Yeah, never.
I think those are literally like $200 and $300 now.
What?
Yeah, when I was in high school, they were like 70, 100.
Oh my God! Look at all those girls. Look at that picture that you had down there. There's a giant group of girls with all this. This is ridiculous.
Is that not nuts? How do you go to the dance like that? How do you go to the game like that?
I don't understand.
I mean, literally, the boyfriends are walking behind them, holding the stuff up for them because
what?
It's getting too heavy. Their neck hurts.
But they want to wear it. It's a tradition.
Yeah,
everybody gets excited.
The bigger and
the bigger
more,
the mum.
The bigger the mum, the better. the more your date liked you.
Is this a mum company that you just clicked on?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Dude, they're in every single grocery store in Texas.
What?
Whenever it comes to like September, October, November, around homecoming time, high school, like this is people's jobs, like seasonal jobs. They sit around and they take special orders, they make them for you, or they sell them to where you can make them yourself.
That's so strange.
Isn't that nuts?
It always baffles me when I find out about something for the very first time. I don't know why I'm so confused.
I would like to find out where the tradition came from, probably, but people, it's just so ingrained in you if you're a Texan that you have to get mums. And so,
is there any other state? Find out if other states accept that.
I literally, Oklahoma doesn't do it, Louisiana doesn't, New Mexico. I mean, all around
Texas.
us, it's just Texas.
12 things non-Texas need to know about homecoming mums. What in the fuck?
Yeah.
The mum started as a simple flower. Hold on, scroll up a little bit. The mum started as a simple flower. Guys give them to their homecoming date. Oh, that's hilarious. Girls also give guys one called a garter, like a garter. Oh, they put it around your arm, like a garter belt?
Yeah. Or no, over your bicep.
God, how bizarre. Like one of those things that Thai boxers wear?
Yeah.
Being able to make mums can make you rich. Oh, God.
See, $60 to $300.
What?
$300 for fake flowers.
$300. It ain't cheap to electrify a mum. Oh my God, that chick's got one that lights up.
That's so crazy.
You can put LED lighting.
Yeah.
Look at that. Scroll up a little bit.
But
you can put LED lighting in mums. I didn't know how many folks are doing this back when I was in high school, but nowadays you really want to impress your date. The latest in mum lighting technology will help you do just that. That is hilarious.
You know, this isn't even like a joke website, right?
No,
like,
this is real.
They're taking it serious.
That's
real
so
serious.
strange.
It's really weird. And so when I was in middle school, 7th grade,
Look at that girl. She's got a Christmas tree on her tits.
That's
ridiculous.
They so you want to save? I saved it up, and my allowance. Asked one of my crushes to go to the homecoming game with me. She said yes to my surprise. Went to the game and spent pretty much all my allowance on her mom, and her name's Jessica. And I took her to the game, and I'm up in the stands with her, and halftime comes around. I'm up at the very top left, and all of a sudden everyone looks back up over the right shoulders at us. And this one guy's kind of my bully through elementary and middle school for sure. And his name was Justin as well. And so he walks up and puts his arm out to her, and she puts her arm around his, and he grabs the streamer that says Justin and Jessica and the year on it or whatever. And he says, "Thanks for getting her this." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "You didn't think she'd come with you, did you?" And so he just kind of walks down. All the schools looking, they're all laughing, having fun. But and that one hurt. But what was worse was the next year, because people liked that part of, I don't know, I think for me, when I see bullying now, I just spoke out of middle school, and I told, one of the teachers asked, "What should you tell a kid that's battling with suicidal thought or depression, even maybe suicidal thoughts?" I'm like, well, if this is 300, 400 kids in here, like, for sure, one person is dealing with these issues right now. And I would say, the thing that probably saved me was my parents didn't own a gun, probably only Texans that don't own guns. And then, I don't know. I guess one of the main things was, I don't even know that I've ever said this publicly, but I remember having attempted suicide once, and then thinking about it again, and then thinking, what would this do to my mom? And so I love my mom. I'm a mama's boy. Dad's great too, but that's just who I am. She's a tough cookie. She's where I got my competitiveness. She was a national champion in barrel racing, state champion in tennis, and so she always pushed me. My dad, if he was at a wrestling tournament and it's the finals, even state, I would dislocate my thumb or something. He'd come up, "You don't have to wrestle in the next match." I'm like, "It's the finals." My mom's like, "He's getting out there." So my mom's the one pushing him. "Shut up, Jimmy. He's gonna go out there and he's gonna wrestle and he's gonna win." And so my dad was more of the one wanting to protect me, and she's the one wanting to push me out there. So I guess I don't even know why I was saying that, except for, that thought was just ringing in my head. And so whenever I finally verbalized that and started talking to people, that's what really helped. It didn't have to be a bunch of people. I didn't have to go around and be, a drama queen or do it for attention or whatever, but just find one person. And for me at that age, it was having a great mom and parents that love me. And I think that's probably absolutely what saved me at that time. And so I was telling these kids, hey, even if it's just your mom. So I was taking pictures with some of the kids afterwards and stuff, and I walk out to leave, and I'm in the hall, and this mom stops me because she's with her little guy, and he's crying. So a mom had come to school, had heard there was anti-bullying talk. She came up, and I see this little guy, and it reminded me a lot of me. The only difference was he had these kind of big glasses on, but he was a little chubby and had one of those things that you'd see stereotypical, like, this kid's going to get picked on.
Right.
And so probably a lot like me, he's used to getting his fat pinched and nipples twisted and, all that different stuff. And so he was out there just bawling with his mom. His mom asked if I could come talk to him for a little bit. I did. And she was saying that he had never opened up with her and in the last 2 years, but she knew he had been dealing with really bad depression. And right there, he told her, "I've been dealing with suicidal thoughts for 2 years." And so I don't know why I even brought that up, except for, like, it's nuts. My parents have a photography company, and they made a memorial a few years back for a little boy who was getting bullied, didn't think he had an option out, and he took his life at 9 years old.
Oh my God!
I think it was his swing set out back. And
How
so
did he hung himself?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And so I saw the plaque and everything made up for him, and just gut wrenching. And so, anyways, I say that, and the first story wasn't that, but then this kind of one that kind of brought everything to a head was I was in eighth grade this time, got invited to Jennifer's birthday party. Really excited. I got one of the real invitations in my hands, and made the plans, talked to my mom, asked if I could go, talk to some of the people who else is going. I was just kind of the dorky kid anyways, but on the invitation I noticed, man, it says costume contest and the winner gets a prize. Well, I started doing research, all this other stuff. Other people were doing it too, and I found out that her dad worked at Dr. Pepper, and that their house was decorated with it, all this other stuff, and then that she loved Transformers. And so I thought, what if I, combine those two things? What if I could make myself a cardboard Transformer from head to toe? I think it was a 24 pack around the head, 12 packs around the arms, legs, boots. I had a chest plate. I had a sword out of cardboard. A country kid, Texas, you see those mums, we can do pretty much anything with duct tape. And so duct tape, cardboard, just made it up and walked into the party, and her grandma opened the door. She goes, "Oh, Jennifer's going to love this." Walked in. They literally had a Dr. Pepper machine, one of those like old school ones. You didn't have to pay. You just push the button. It pops out. 13-year-old kid. You love that. So we got a Dr. Pepper can in one hand, have the Dr. Pepper cardboard sword in the other, walk to the backyard. And whenever the door opens, I open the door, greeted there with like some flashes of lights and fingers pointing, people laughing. And I remember Jennifer saying, "I can't believe you thought you were cool enough to come to my party." And I was the only one that was dressed up. Everybody else had gotten there early, and they all been planning it, and even the invitations were fake, just so that I would come there, dress up. Another kid said, "You're worthless." So in that moment, I felt worthless. And then the main bully said, "You should just kill yourself." And so whenever he said that, 13 years old, battle with depression, suicidal thoughts, all that different stuff, man, it took me on a downward spiral, a tailspin. And it really sucked. I didn't know how to cover it up. And then I guess I'm getting back to the MMA route, where I found that 13 years old at like a flea market in Texas, and walking down these aisles, I'm looking for a BB gun. And all of a sudden I get to this like used video shop, and it's got UFC VHS. I think it was 2 through 10 or 2 through 11 or something like that. And so I bought them all. You were on there. And
Dude, that is a horrible story, man. That is a terrible story. How the fuck could those kids be so mean?
Man, I think honestly, I don't think it's, that crazy compared to, it is. It's very like methodical, like very planned out.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were in on it. I think that probably was one of the things. Like, honestly, Jennifer was the biggest crush I ever had in, elementary, middle school, growing up, And so she was the one I really wanted to impress. That's why I did that research, And then to know that she was in on it, these other guys planned it, but she went along with it.
But to have her say that to you, like, I can't believe you thought you were cool enough to come to my party.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, I ended up leaving. And this is before cell phones. And I didn't have a cell phone until I was like 16, 17. And so I'm 13, run out, found a Dairy Queen, and went in the back, and where the drive-thru is, there was like the dumpster, and they got like the fence around it. And I just was able to open it, sit there, and just cried basically until someone came out to throw away the trash. And then they were like, "Oh, honey," got down, and "What do you need?" and all this other stuff. "Can you call your mom?" I'm like, if I have a phone. And so I walked inside, called her, but she wasn't there. So it took a little while to get a hold of my mom. And then, it was nuts, because it's weird how you'll believe, especially in today's age with social media and all the tweets and things that people just throw around. It's nuts how you can see somebody, you don't even know them. They might have one follower, but somehow it can still, if you let it can still affect you instead of just shrugging it off.
That's a totally different thing, though. Someone saying something on Twitter, and someone saying something and looking you in the eyes, and planning out this big deception.
Yeah.
But you're such a nice guy. Like, I don't understand what the fuck causes someone to be such a shithead like that.
Well, I don't know, man. I think I've matured a lot, where, obviously 29 instead of 13, but I think I just became an easy target, and
Because you're just a nice guy, and they just
maybe that I wouldn't stand up for myself, and maybe
Yeah.
I wasn't the biggest kid, but I was chubby and bigger, and yeah, I think it just was easy to pick on me in the locker rooms, pick on me in the, I don't know, I think who the stats I was looking at was something like 87% of bullying doesn't happen in the presence of adults.
right.
And then I forget, but even the people around, like how you're saying, to people plan it out and everything else, look you in the eyes. I mean, I think that might have been what took me back the most, because I was like, man, like this is, if you're sitting by, this is what I try to tell some of the kiddos growing up now. It's like, if you think that by laughing, I mean, if you're there and you're not bullying, but you're giggling, you're laughing, like you're definitely a part of it. You're an encourager.
Right.
But then even if you're silent and you're just watching it and you don't, like, now if you see it, you have a choice. You can do something about it or you cannot. And so I feel like that's a passive standby kind of encouragement and so for me, it was like everyone was there. People were saying it, people were laughing, people were watching, but nobody was standing up for me. So it was, I think that's what hurt the most.
Well, see, so there's two giant instances. The one with the other guy named Justin. Mm-hmm. So they planned that out too?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, both.
You went to school with some evil kids.
Yeah, it was actually part of the same kids. So, yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, and then so from that, that's definitely been the biggest battle of my life, has been depression, suicidal thoughts.
And it was all from
addictions.
that bullying. There was nothing other than that.
For the depression?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it went from, technically, I would say it went from 3rd grade to 10th grade. And then whenever I started wrestling and my parents transferred me out of the school, everything else then.
But the bullying is what caused all these suicidal thoughts. There was nothing else that was bumming you out about life.
No,
that is so fucked up that some shitty, mean kids can all of a sudden throw this monkey wrench in your life.
And I've learned, and I mean,
of course,
I used to, looking back, I shouldn't have ever let it get to the point to where, I think I should hurt myself or kill you know what, just to real quick put that together with the pygmies in Congo. Whenever I opened up and shared with some of them around the campfire, just hanging out, talking, sharing life stories, I shared that, and I just remember the looks on several people's faces, just so baffled. Like, did he just say he wanted to hurt himself? He was suicide. He wanted to kill himself? All that different stuff. And then I started asking, like, does that not happen here? And they're like, well, some of them were like, well, we've heard of that happening before. And yeah, there's this guy that was that guy and that guy and that guy. And we heard that someone in their village had hurt themselves or killed themselves or something. But most of the people, I think, were like, no, we've never heard. Why would anyone, if you hurt yourself, you're only hurt, like, that's only hurting you.
Right.
Like, that's not going to help anything.
Well, you just wanted the pain to end.
Yeah. Here, I just wanted the pain to end. But there, it's like, it's nuts, because if I look at it, I was a little kid that got bullied by some stupid kids. And then if I look at what they're going through, man, it shrinks it. It makes it microscopic whenever you stop just focusing on your own problems. You start looking at other problems that maybe you can be a part of helping solve that problem. And
so this bullying all throughout your childhood led into adulthood, and the only thing that made it better was you going to the Congo and helping out these pygmies and building wells and sort of dedicating and devoting your life to their life.
Yeah, I would say practically that has been, to have a sense of purpose. I mean, I think it's a lot of different things, but that all kind of came together. But for me, yeah, I mean, when you're not living for yourself and you're living for others, you just want, I mean, I didn't know that. For me, I had a big paradigm shift or change in my life whenever, coming out of the addiction, I felt like, oh man, like I don't have to walk around and hate myself and stay away from people because they're either going to hurt me or I'm going to want to hurt them. Like, I don't have to do that. I can help people. I can want to love them. I can, figure out something. And dude, it first started, what really started helping a lot was I got involved with a lot of different stuff, from juvenile detention center, going in and meeting with some of those kids once a week, to homeless shelter, to becoming an official volunteer at the Denver Children's Hospital and taking the grudge guys through there. And
do you stay in any way in touch with those kids from back in the day, from the kids that bullied you? Did you ever?
It was actually funny. After the Ultimate Fighter, I got invited out by one of the guys, and just because I think a couple of people I saw one of the guys who was one of the main guys, and he's like, hey, I just saw him walking around downtown Fort Worth, and he's like, why don't we go out here or whatever? I'm like, all right, I'll go. And well, he had actually brought me into the sushi restaurant, and all around the table was most of the people that were, not most, it was probably only like 8 or 10 people, but they were some of the main kids that were at that party when I dressed up and everything.
Wow.
Like, man, if we'd have known you were a fighter, or, you know, you could have kicked our butts, then we wouldn't have done that to you. And I'm just like, so I told him I was going to the bathroom and just left. I think that's the only time I've ever done anything like that, but I was like, I can't be around these guys.
Did you sense any feeling of remorse from them, or did they just want to be friends with you?
One or two of them. One guy for sure. He's pretty cool now, and but then one is a knucklehead for sure, and
still,
yeah, big time.
You know, it's that classic thing of kids ganging up on one kid. That's a weird instinct that sometimes children have. You remember that movie Carrie, when she goes to the prom, and did you ever see that Sissy Spacek movie? Mm-hmm. It's based on a great Stephen King book.
You know, I know the cover in my head.
The Sissy Spacek movie was really trippy. John Travolta's in it. Back in the day, young and handsome. But it's, you know, that's the themes that they push her. She has these crazy telekinetic powers, and they push her to this point, and they do it by mocking her and bullying her. They take her to the prom, and they pour pig's blood on her head. Gosh. She winds up killing everybody.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But that thing that happens when kids gang up on a kid that they feel like is vulnerable, like, what the fuck is that, man? What a horrible instinct. Like, is that... But, I mean, I struggle to understand where that instinct comes from or why people do it. It's especially little kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could understand it if the kids have been abused themselves and they want to lash out, they're angry and hurt. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes it's just they find someone who's vulnerable. Mm-hmm. It's like they find the pecking order, and they find the one person they can get away with, and they all funnel their insecurities and their anger and their aggression on this one person, just because with no regard whatsoever of what kind of impact it's going to have on that kid.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that makes it so much worse now is, at least, I mean, I don't know, I get to hear some of the stuff, and they can't escape it, like because it follows them home. I mean, all that cyberbullying, and they get the text and all the stuff, so it's constantly. So I could at least escape it from, I don't know, 8 to 3. 8 to 3, I was at school, but when I came home, I was okay, and maybe that gave me a break.